मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कथा मह्यं ददति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलान् श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नाम्ने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे पञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। सत्यकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Reading from Prabhupada-līlāmṛta Volume 2, Chapter 44, continuation. Leaving South America, Prabhupada moved quickly, stopping in Miami, Atlanta, Dallas, and New York, all within a month of his departure from India. He then went to London, stopped in Tehran, and returned to India on March 16. It was Prabhupada's eighth trip around the world in 10 years. Early in the morning of March 23rd, Śrīla Prabhupada left the Calcutta temple for Mayapur, traveling in a caravan of 5 cars. Prabhupada was in the first car. Three following cars carried his sannyas disciples, and the last car carried his sister, Bhavatarini, and other ladies. As usual, Prabhupada asked to stop at the mango orchard. Devi Shakti Dasi, they all sat around together just like cowherd boys. Prabhupada in the center taking his breakfast fruits. It was Ekadashi and I had made a cake for Prabhupada out of date and coconut. Very nice, very fancy. When Prabhupada opened his tiffin and saw it, he said, "Oh, what is that? What is this? Who has made this?" So Achyutananda Swami told him I had made it, and he started eating it right away. Prabhupada said he liked it. Then they washed their hands and we were on our way again to Mayapur. Mayapur, March 23, 1975. For this year's festival, almost 500 devotees from around the world have gathered, and Prabhupada, while taking his morning walks in the nearby fields, while entering the temple of Radha Madhava, or while lecturing from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, was a central attractive feature. Each morning, after giving the class, he would circumambulate the temple room, mm, followed by his disciples. A brass bell hung from the ceiling on either side of the devotee's altar, and Prabhupada, while circumambulating the deities, would go up to one of the bells and ring it several times, pulling the rope near while the kirtan continued wildly. Then, with a cane in hand, he would walk around the back of the deity altar and emerge on the other side to ring the other bell. The devotees would jump up and down close around him, singing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Smiling with great pleasure, Prabhupada would continue the length of the temple room, past the pictures of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Gaurakishore Das Babaji, and Bhakti Vinod Thakur, then come around and up the other side of the temple room to first bell again and strongly ring it. After half a dozen such blissful circumambulations, he would leave the temple while the kirtan continued to roar. Coming out into the bright morning sunshine, he would walk up the broad staircase to his room. On at least two occasions during the festival, Prabhupada became stunned in trance while delivering the morning lecture. One time he was speaking in appreciation of the sacrifice of his disciples who had spent so much money and come so far from their homes in America, Europe, and Australia to render service and attend the festival in Mayapur. You are all young. He was saying, you have a good opportunity. But I am an old man, I have no opportunity. And with these words, he suddenly fell completely silent. Such silence before 500 disciples produced a feeling of suspended time. Everyone waited. Finally, one of the devotees began chanting Hare Krishna, and Srila Prabhupada returned to external consciousness, uttering Hare Krishna. He told the devotees, have kirtan, and went to his room. Prabhupada again supervised the annual meeting of his governing body commission and personally approved or modified all their um, all their decisions. ISKCON was indeed growing, but as Prabhupada had told his friend, the aged Gopalacharya in Madras, Krishna and Krishna's institutions are non-different. If the devotees are thinking of Krishna's institution, they will not forget Krishna. By insisting on the devotees' participation in the annual Indian pilgrimage, Prabhupada was solidifying the spiritual basis of ISKCON, his transcendental institution. To gather his devotees like this was the reason he had prayed and struggled to erect centers in the dhams. He wanted to extend the purifying shelter of Mayapur and Vrindavan to all his followers now and in the future. Bit by bit, the plan was coming toward together. The whole world was being saved by Lord Chaitanya's movement. Vrindavan, April 16. When Srila Prabhupada arrived to finally conduct the Krishna Balram Mandir opening, he was pleasantly surprised to see the three tall domes rising over the temple. The domes had been constructed entirely during the 8 months since his last visit. The four-story international guest house had also been completely built during his absence. Shuripi had supervised sorry, workers in day and night shifts to get everything done on time. The tall central dome and two side domes, one over one over each altar, were magnificent. These graceful form led the mind to higher thoughts and suggested an existence beyond the material world. The strength and beauty of the domes reminded one that be- beneath sorry. The strength and beauty of the domes reminded one that beneath resided the deities of the Supreme Lord. A temple was to enlighten people, to remove their nescience, and the domes eloquently spoke of this purpose. They could be seen for miles, rising boldly above the landscape of Vrindavan, proclaiming the worship of Krishna and Balaram. Each dome was topped by a copper kalash consisting of three balls representing the lower, middle, and higher planets, and at the top, the eternal Sudarshan Chakra, the spinning wheel weapon of Lord Vishnu. The Sudarshan Chakra was Krishna himself, and just to see this glorious symbol atop the mandir made the devotees feel victorious and satisfied. Even the guests could not help but regard it with awe. Atop the Sudarshan Chakras were copper Victoria flags. As Prabhupada toured the completed building, he continually looked up at the domes. Oh, he said, the domes have come out very nice. What do you think? He turned to the devotees accompanying him. They are magnificent, said Hamsadutta. Yes, Prabhupada said, Tamal Krishna, I think that Surabhi has done a nice job. Yes, Prabhupada smiled. Everyone is telling how nice Surabhi is doing. Prabhupada turned to Surabhi, who had gone with little sleep for weeks. But I can't say that only me. I am criticizing you because that is my job. I have to always criticize the disciple. No less than 600 devotees from ISKCON centers around the world have had come to Vrindavan um, as part of annual Indian pilgrimage. The high point was to be the installation of the deities and the opening of the temple. Final preparations were going furiously, cleanups, de- decorations, cooking. Many important life meals and guests had come and were staying in staying in their private room in the 40-room guest house. Prabhupada's vision had finally come to pass. He had created probably the most beautiful and opulent temple in Vrindavan, certainly the one most alive with dynamic devotion and preaching spirit, and along with it, he had built one of the best local hotels for visitors with an eye for Krishna Bhakti. Touring the grounds, Prabhupada walked into the sunken courtyard, its marble floor clean and dazzling. This was this was no rented house in America, something built for another person. It was temple like the temples in Vaikuntha described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is heaven on earth. Prabhupada said that I had sorry, I think it surpasses all the temples in India. Prabhupada stood smiling before the tamalak tree. Venerable branches spread throughout one corner of courtyard, and he recounted how this how there had been a discussion of cutting it down, and he had prevented it. Tamal trees are associated with the pure personality of Godhead. I'm sorry. Tamal trees are associated with the pastimes of Srimati Radharani and are very rare in Vrindavan. There were perhaps only three, one here, one at the Seva Kunj, and one in the courtyard of Radha Damodar temple. The Tamal tree was growing so luxuriously, Prabhupada indicated that, Prabhupada said, indicated that the devotees were performing genuine bhakti. Convinced by that, convinced, convinced that the temple was actually really ready. Prabhupada entered his residence just between the temple and the guest house. Many details demanded his attention, and many visiting disciples were present. Thus, in Ramanareti, in a place where there was no temple, a pure devotee recited, "Let there be a temple and seva, deva, let there be a temple and a seva devotional service." And what had once been an empty lot was what had once been an empty lot was now a place of pilgrimage. Such is the power of desires of the pure devotees. Epilogue. Srila Prabhupada would often say of his devotional service in Vrindavan, in India, Vrindavan is my residence, Bombay is my office, and Mayapur uh, is where I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bombay is the biggest commercial city in India. Prabhupada's business was pure devotional service to Krishna, and in Bombay he dealt more with the managerial aspects of Krishna consciousness in India. He had incorporated ISKCON in India with the main branch in Bombay. All other branches of in ISKCON India therefore were legally part of the Bombay incorporation. In Bombay, Prabhupada had cultivated more lawyers and businessmen as life members and earned more friends of this society than in other city in India. So whenever he was in Bombay, he often sought legal advice not just about the Bombay center, but where am I? But also about his other affairs in India. Please bear with me, I'll finish soon. Since Bombay was a modern city with professional and official facilities on a level with many Western cities, Prabhupada wanted to locate the Indian division of his book trust there for printing Hindi translations of his books as well as English versions or for the Indian market. Bombay, unlike Vrindavan and Mayapur, was not only a dham but a bustling, wealthy city. ISKCON's biggest donors lived there. Although Srila Prabhupada's demo was entirely transcendental in Bombay and his activities were often the same as in elsewhere, the speaking speaking on Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and worship the deity. Nevertheless, called it his, Prabhupada called it his office, and though it was his office, he wanted a temple there. Mayapur, Prabhupada said, is where I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada conceived of a temple to be built in Mayapur that would be the grandest of all temples in his moment. He and his devotees would the worship the Supreme Lord there in such a magnificent style that the whole world would be attracted to Prabhupada's place of worship, the Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir. According to the Srimad Bhagavatam, the prescribed worship of this age is Sankirtan, the chanting of the holy names of Lord. Sankirtan worship emanated from Sankirtan worship emanated from Mayapur, the original dham of Lord Chaitanya. In the age of Kali, states Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna appears in a golden form as Lord Chaitanya, and his activity is to chant Hare Krishna. People with sufficient intelligence will worship him in this form. Srila Prabhupada wanted to make the most worshipable form, sorry, more wonderful worship of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his birthplace and thus completely fulfill the prescribed prediction of the previous acharyas who foresaw a great Vedic city rising from the plains of Navadvip. Mayapur could also be considered Prabhupada's place of worship because his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, had preached extensively there, and because his samadhi was there, since Srila Prabhupada's entire preaching mission was in the signs of his spiritual master, he worshipped his spiritual master through preaching in Mayapur. Mayapur was Maya could also be considered. Okay, I'm sorry. Srila Prabhupada and his entire preaching mission was in the service of spiritual master. He worshipped his spiritual master through preaching in Mayapur. Mayapur was the origin and symbol of preaching Krishna consciousness because there Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda actually began the Sankirtan movement that Prabhupada was now carrying all over the world. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to reach the Sankirtan movement of love of Krishna throughout the entire world, and therefore, during his presence, he inspired the Sankirtan movement. Super, especially, he sent Rupa Goswami to Vrindavan and Nityananda to Bengal and personally went to South India. In this way, he kindly left the task of preaching his cult in the rest of the world to the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Vrindavan is Prabhupada's residence. Religious people in India as well as uh, religious scholars in the west, west. Vrindavan is Prabhupada's residence. Religious people in India as well as religious scholars in the West saw Prabhupada as a Vaishnava sadhu from Vrindavan. When he began his preaching in New York City, he would often introduce himself as coming from Vrindavan. Here, I am now sitting in New York. He once Rahul, he once said, "The world's greatest city, but my heart is always hankering after Vrindavan. I shall be very happy to return to my Vrindavan, that sacred place." The people of Vrindavan also thought of Prabhupada as their hometown success. Upon retiring from family life in 1954, Prabhupada had gone to live in Vrindavan, first at a temple near Keshighat and then at Radha Damodar temple. After taking sannyas in 1959, he had continued to reside in Vrindavan and, when not living there, to reserve his two rooms at Radha Damodar. Vrindavan is the home of Krishna consciousness and place of Krishna's childhood pastimes and the place where the six Goswamis sent by Lord Chaitanya had ex- ex- excavated holy places, written transcendental literature, and built temples. Any devotee could feel at home there, and thousands of Vrindavan residents carried bead bags, chanted Hare Krishna, and wore the Vaishnav tilak and dress. Vrindavan belonged to uh, belonged to Radha and Krishna, and this was still acknowledged by the residents of the Vrindavan, present day Vrindavan. Ultimately, Vrindavan is revealed only to the pure devotee. Vrindavan is the eternal residence of spiritual souls in their eternal relationship with Krishna. The Vrindavan in India is a transcendental replica of Goloka Vrindavan, the eternal planet where Krishna resides in the spiritual world. The pure devotees aspire to attain a Goloka Vrindavan after finishing their life in this world, and Prabhupada, therefore, as a pure devotee of Krishna, naturally felt felt at home in Vrindavan. He sometimes said that if he were to become very ill, he would prefer not to go to a hospital but to simply go to Vrindavan and there pass his last days. To spread the glories of Vrindavan, Prabhupada had left Vrindavan, but like a traveler away from home, he always thought of returning. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for joining. But I don't know how much you could able to follow.
Thank
There
you
were
so
a lot
much,
of
Prabhuji.
breaks.
No, bro, it is really clear, and thank you for taking your time. It's still in India, it's 12:30 or like. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for reading out. And it is really interesting that yes, Prabhupada finally could able to build a temple in Vrindavan where the Krishna's place. And yes, Prabhuji, it is really nice.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yes, and even if he's sick, like he mentioned that if he's like sick or something, he's the way he can go to Vrindavan. He told it's nice point, Prabhuji.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you. Yep. Anyone else would like to share? No, I thought only I'm sleeping.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Probably should we shift maybe 1 hour earlier, 6 o'clock from next time?
No problem. One week only, right?
Yeah, maybe next time 6 o'clock we can. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was-
Otherwise, you may even hear my snoring, I think. Yeah.
No, no. It was loud and clear. Yes.
Hmm. Okay, then. Thank you very much for joining. Tomorrow, have a nice program. Rock the stage and make devotees. And then, yeah, invitation to Vrindavan. For ourselves, we earn the invitation, and for others, we offer the invitation.
Yes, Prabhuji. Our Stashpa will rock the stage tomorrow.
Yeah. What will rock tomorrow?
He will rock the stage, na, Satish Prabhu. With his
Okay.
dance move.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone.
The thing is that he's the photographer, right? So we can't see his dance.
Oh, yes, Prabhuji. Photography. I should. Yes.
Yeah, don't forget, huh?
Yes, Prabhuji. Photography. And I don't know, I will also be near the laptop, so
Yeah. You share with Ram Raghav Prabhu.
yes,
I
Prabhuji.
think that's what is agreed. I think I have just put that before. Anyway, you will manage it. And when you're
Yeah.
taking videos, na, try to cover public also. Yeah, of course, Kirtan, and also slowly
Yes,
move
Prabhuji.
it to public when the
Yeah.
craze goes high. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay then. Yeah, you want to tell something?
No, Prabhuji, I was just thinking that, first is like having the presentation set up and then also ensuring the coverage of, our Kirtanias.
Yes.
And video, you want me to take using the same phone, Prabhuji, or I think, because I think it's better to use the same.
I didn't understand. So we are doing only video only, right? What are we doing else other than that?
No, video only, but this will be now focused on the Kirtaniyas, right, Prabhuji? So you
Yeah.
also
Focused on the Kirtaniyas, but once a while you can also turn around and
one
again
hour.
bring it back.
Okay. Yes, Prabhuji.
Otherwise, it's too static, no?
Yes, Prabhuji, makes sense. We'll do that, Prabhuji.
Mhm. Anyway, I'm not there. Enjoy. Mhm. Okay then. Take care. Hare Krishna. Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.